Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in this video I'm going to cover some information about an incredible little tree called Moringa. Now this is something I've been familiar with for a long time. I've used it only intermittently here and there, and it is in one of our formulas, but it's something that needs a little bit more of a spotlight because this tree is also known as the miracle tree, the tree of life, and even the drumstick tree, because every single part of this plant is utilized, basically except for the stem. And you need the stem, the trunk of this tree, for everything else to grow. So the leaves are what are most commonly used, but the flowers are edible and medicinal. The roots are medicinal and edible, and of course the leaves, and then these big ginormous seed pods are also edible and medicinal. So this is a plant that if is not on your radar, it's something to learn about and know about and incorporate into your supplement routine, from my perspective, in my opinion, here and there, or if you're going through something a little bit more serious, like it's got anti-cancer properties, this would be something to take a look at because it's readily accessible. You can get organic Moringa leaf powder almost anywhere. You can add it to a smoothie. You can get it in capsule form. It has got such a beautiful nutrition and supplement profile. It's just amazing at what it does. And it has gotten a lot of attention here and there, but this is something that if you live in a place where you can grow it, you certainly should. So Moringa originally comes from India, northwestern India, and also grows in the Himalayas. But the Himalayas that have tropical warm weather, because this is a plant that likes hot weather. So you can grow it in other places, but you might need a greenhouse, you might need to put it in a pot and move it in and out, or you might need to surround it with mulch, chop it down and protect the root. But if you live in a place where even your ground gets frozen, this is probably a plant that you will have a really difficult time growing. So this is one reason I've personally never grown the Moringa tree because I live in Utah and I have these harsh winters. And even though it's been on my radar, and like I said, I've dipped in and out taking it as a supplement, I've never grown it because I've never lived in a place where it just grows. So this is a very forgiving plant as far as if you have the right climate. This doesn't need a lot of attention. It's almost a plant you can neglect. It will grow like crazy, so you need to kind of keep it chopped back. In fact, the Moringa tree is best grown from seeds. So you can get a plant that maybe you can get a tree that's really well established if you live in a place where there's nurseries that grow it in these big pots and they get it really established and growing. But if you want to grow your own Moringa, the best thing to do is to germinate it and grow it from seed, because then you're going to get a nice established root. It's going to really thrive where you plant it, and it's going to produce this beautiful tree with these beautiful white flowers that you can literally pick off, make Moringa flower tea, and you can make Moringa flower tea tree. But this is something that you can use the flower as a decorative part of a salad. They are big, they're kind of big white flowers, but you can literally eat the whole flower. Now, of course, I would rinse it off because you might have little bugs in there that are that are kind of just taking advantage of all the beautifulness of it. But this is something that should definitely go on your radar. Moringa has a ton of health benefits, and it's been around and utilized by humans for more than 4,000 years. Like, you can go back in all the ancient texts and all the old medicinal, even the old medicine journals before modern medicine took over and it did what it's doing right now in modern medicine. You can go back 500 years and look at the medicinal properties of plants that are written up in medical journals, the medical journals of the day. And the nice, amazing thing about plants is they don't really change their properties. You know, this is what made my dad's book that he wrote 45 years ago still relevant. So when I updated it and doubled it, I didn't change a lot of the content that he had. I just updated some of the content. I researched a tiny bit more, then I added all the other plants. But if you think about plants and their properties, the benefits, they don't change. This is why when you use Mother Nature to help yourself thrive and heal from whatever issue you're going after, you could have done it 1,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago with the same plant, but it feels like now this stuff is starting to flow back at us, and we're starting to realize that there is power in plants that has been quietly sitting there waiting for us to discover it. So this is not anything new. And if you live in places like Florida, Texas, California, places where there's consistently warm weather, this would be a really fun plant to add into your yard, but add into your medicinal garden, because it does like a lot of sunshine. A little bit of shade is okay, but it likes full sun. And like I said, it's really, really low maintenance. You don't need to spend a lot of time watering it. Of course, it's going to need water, but usually in places that are tropical and warm, it's going to get its amount of water from just what the sky naturally delivers. So some of the health benefits are really, really amazing. In fact, I put this in a superfood category with things like spirulina and even chlorella. Moringa has a complete nutrition profile. It's got all of your amino acids. It's got a complete amino acid profile. So it's high in protein. It's also got a ton of potassium, a ton of calcium. It's got vitamin A, it's got vitamin C. So it's got powerful antioxidant benefits. So when you think antioxidant, think anti-cancer. And I have over the years had many people reach out to me while they've been on different protocols for healing for all kinds of things besides cancer, but in particular that. And they'll reach out and say, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and I'm doing Moringa. What do you think about that? And Moringa is absolutely amazing because it is so nutritious. In fact, there are people who grow Moringa to simply help nourish people in other countries because it does have that complete nutrition profile. You think about greens, and a Moringa plant can grow 10 feet in the first year. So if you plant a plant, you get the seed established and it starts growing, you can literally have a 10-foot tree within a year. And maybe not quite so much, but this is a plant that is very prolific. It will grow. And there are certain tips that you can take to make it more bushy rather than so tall. You just simply cut it off at certain places, let the leaves grow, and you can harvest a ton of Moringa leaves even in the first couple of years. In fact, there's a little tip that I heard that if you take the flowers off, if you want to grow the seed pods to consume them, you need to not let it go to seed. It needs to have the flowers plucked off. And I believe that that is a tip. I've never grown it, but I remember hearing that. So if I'm wrong on that, let me know. But I do think that if you pluck the flowers off and either consume them or just mulch them up into your compost, that you will actually grow these big, long seed pods. And then you can open up the seed pod. You'll have enough Moringa seeds to plant and share with all of your neighbors if you live in a place that is so inclined to just grow them outside. Here's a short list of some of the benefits that this amazing plant contain. So it's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, blood sugar support, cholesterol reduction, nutritional support. So this is something that I found when I was researching this a little bit deeper is, like I said, there are countries that actually suffer from malnutrition, and Moringa has been used in a lot of charities and a lot of work with people who understand nutrition. You can grow it somewhere else, process it into a powder or whatever, so you can throw it into a smoothie or stir it into some water or however they're consuming it. And it is very, very helpful in cases of malnutrition because it is so densely nutritious. Okay, it's good for your skin health and your hair health, and it's also really good as a digestive aid. Now, what I discovered when I first started studying Moringa was I used it because I was always in the gym, and I would throw it into my smoothies, and then I kind of fell off from making smoothies. I think I got a little bit burned out. I had a lot of smoothies, and I just kind of stopped taking it. Then a few years ago, I started researching on making a formula for the kidneys and the kidney cleanse, something to support kidney function and kidney health. And Moringa popped up on my radar while I was studying what herbs are good for kidney health. Because there it is, Moringa is so amazing. So I formulated a tincture which has hawthorn leaf, corn silk, cranberries, and it does have Moringa in it. So this is a beautiful tincture to help love on, support, if you will, detox the kidneys. So it's a really, really beautiful blend. So what I would say to you is this. First of all, if you live somewhere where you can grow moringa, this would be an amazing benefit to your yard, to your herb garden. And especially if you have a bit of property and you live in a place like that, this just adds a whole bunch of benefits to your yard, its aesthetics, and its ability to nourish you. So I think that the times we're in, where we're all starting to learn that we are the ones that are responsible for our health, and then learning to trust it when we learn about things like this. So if you don't grow moringa, but you live in a place where you can, this would be something that I would love to know. If you start growing this, maybe this motivates you to look into it a little bit more. But this is a superfood. This is a powerful, powerful superfood. In fact, I believe that this is something that you could take and live off of if something happened, where you needed to live off of something for a short period of time. If that's all you had, you could literally munch on the leaves of your moringa tree and you would live and you would thrive. You would probably do better than 90% of the people that go through the same hard time if you have moringa to live on. So I know that's a massive statement to say, and I'd love to know, what do you think about that? Do you think that's kind of putting it out there and being wild with a claim? But just know that everything I share with you is not meant to be medical advice. All this stuff about how good this is for everything, do some of your own due diligence and know that Mother Nature provides all the gifts we need. She is brilliant. She is there for us. It's almost like she's quietly waiting behind the scenes, and she's always been there. And sometimes we just need to pay attention. And what I like to think about is this. Think about all the quantum physics and quantum entanglement and all of these things that we're starting to realize as an awakening humanity who realizes our own potential, our own power, and we're just nourishing this avatar that takes us through this world. And there she sits. Mother Nature has always, always been there. And I think as modern humans, especially in the Western world, there's maybe been a small percentage of people who've been always going to Mother Nature for everything that they need to take care of their health, their nutrition, their connectiveness, their spirituality, their consciousness. There have been a small percentage of humans who have always been living this way. But from what I see, where we are in 2025, when I'm making this video, is that there is a massive percentage of people who have literally awoken up to this. And when we observe something, it brings it into it renders it. It's like looking at this whole thing as a simulation or a construct, right? It doesn't really come into our awareness until we observe it. Once we observe it, then it's there. So I'd love to know what you think about this. And have you loved moringa? Maybe you've been using it for decades or a few years, or you just found out about it last month. I would love to know. But this is an amazing plant to put on your radar and to put into your supplement routine if it strikes a bell with you. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one.